Fuck around, make my 40 pop.
Naruto versus Delta is over. This right here is probably going to be one of the biggest fights in Boruto thus far, and just off of the fact that it's going to be Naruto's first 1v1 battle. The first thing that I do want to touch on very quickly, and I do want to make a full video talking about this, so I don't necessarily talk too much about this in this video, it's going to be the animation. The only thing that I'm going to say about this animation is that it wasn't bad, but it was not what we thought it was going to be. And I personally think the Boruto writers or the Boruto animators, they're basically saving a lot of their budget for a future fight down the line. I don't necessarily want to spoil a lot of things for the anime only, but in about a month or a month and a half, there's going to be an even bigger battle. For the manga readers out there, you guys know exactly which fight I'm talking about. But regardless, into the actual battle now, the first thing that I do want to talk about is that Naruto looked absolutely amazing, bro. Naruto was absolutely amazing. Now, first things first, we understand that Naruto wasn't necessarily going all out in regards to ninjutsu, and he basically made that very clear, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly why he had a very difficult time with Delta. Not only could Delta pretty much match Naruto in speed and strength, but also she was extremely confident in her abilities, which pretty much made her not necessarily hold any punches, and I'll get into exactly why I think that in a little bit. Now, one of the main things I do want to talk about at first has to be how Naruto was not rusty. This right here, look, I'm not necessarily going to say prime Naruto because obviously he wasn't going 100%, but one thing that a lot of the Boruto fans understand in regards to Naruto is that there is a possibility of him growing rusty because of the fact that he is the Hokage, and we don't necessarily know exactly how much he trained. And this narrative right here pretty much started from the first big arc of Boruto, the Naruto Gaiden arc, which is pretty much the first time that we did see Sada acquire her Sharingans, and Naruto and Sasuke were fighting against the Shin Uchiha clones with the Mangekyo Sharingan. In that particular scene, Karma made it very clear, absolutely clear, that Naruto was extremely rusty. In regards to speed and strength in that arc, Naruto looked absolutely terrible. Even in Jutsu, Naruto looked absolutely terrible. I think that Naruto in this arc, in this battle right here, it was completely night and day. I'm not gonna lie, I really want to say Naruto holding back ninjutsu right now could have potentially beaten Naruto back then if Naruto back then was going all out. I'm not necessarily gonna go that far, but you guys get my point. Naruto right now is looking a lot better. Now, there are a couple of reasons why I bring up the fact that Naruto is not rusty right now. The first reason is that we haven't necessarily seen him fight in like over 100 episodes, and not only that, it's the fact that we are getting closer and we are getting a lot more in depth with the Kata Insiders. We had the first two Kata Insiders, which I'm pretty sure 100% are probably going to be the weaker members of the Kata Insiders, which was Deepa and Victor. Now we are at the point where the Kata Insiders are going to be able to challenge Naruto and Sasuke. Now, obviously, I don't necessarily expect them to be stronger than Naruto and Sasuke or anything like that, but Delta right now is pretty much, in my opinion, probably going to be the weakest one at this particular point. So Naruto is probably going to be fighting a lot more Kata members, and I'm not necessarily sure exactly what Kashin Koji is doing in the back. And a lot of people think that Kashin Koji is not necessarily going to be fighting against Naruto and Sasuke, mainly because he's planning a sort of coup against the Kata organization. I'll get into that a little bit later on in this video, but regardless, I think characters like him, characters like Boruto, and even this episode, characters like Code, which pretty much seems like Code is stronger than Boruto as well. Those are characters right now that we are going to have to worry about. And of course, if Naruto is not in tip-top shape, it could definitely prove to be a very bad sign. Now, Delta, on the other hand, I personally believe that she completely overperformed. You know, coming into a fight like this, especially when I was reading it in the Boruto manga for the first time, I thought that Delta was going to get creamed. I thought it was going to be like probably like a couple of pages in the Boruto manga. It probably wouldn't necessarily last a full episode, but Delta actually managed to make this last 2 episodes. Not necessarily 2 full episodes that I thought it was going to be, but nonetheless 2 episodes in the Boruto manga speaking. She made this battle last literally 3 whole chapters. And if you guys don't necessarily know about the Boruto manga, that right there was literally 3 months. So in terms of like Boruto manga, this fight was literally forever. Now, not only that, Delta also proved that she could, as I said, keep up with Naruto speed and strength wise, and I think that right there was definitely highlighted in this episode right here. Now, here's the thing. We seen like a frame, or wasn't necessarily a frame, we seen a couple of frames, like a little scene. The speed was basically above what the human eye can actually see. They were giving us the fight perspective of Boruto, Himawari, and Kawaki, and you could literally not see them moving. All you could see is literal just sparks flying everywhere, and understand that they were clashing at a very high rate of speed. And even at that particular point, Boruto said Naruto looks extremely mad, and I do want to point this out. This right here means something coming from Boruto, mainly because Boruto seen Naruto fight 100%. Boruto seen Naruto go all out against Momoshiki. Boruto seen Sasuke go all out against Momoshiki. So for him to actually say that he seems mad and it seems like he's actually going for Delta's throat in this episode, it made me understand that Delta is actually up there. And it wasn't just the fact that Delta was keeping up with Naruto in terms of actual speed, it was also the fact that taijutsu wise, Delta was keeping up with Naruto as well. Obviously, Naruto hit harder than Delta, so of course Delta at the end pretty much lost that taijutsu battle, but Delta was actually able to come back at Naruto and actually hit Naruto and land some punches and some kicks. This right here is something that's absolutely insane. Again, we're talking about arguably the strongest ninja of all time right now, and Delta is rivaling him. And honestly, I think this right here is a testament to how powerful the scientific technology is going to be. Now, not only that, it's also a testament to how strong Kawaki can possibly be in the future. Now, I understand that, you know, Kawaki wasn't necessarily a huge factor in this episode, but I would be 100% lying to you guys if every time I watch a Boruto episode, I'm not necessarily angling and thinking about the overall fight of Boruto versus Kawaki in the future. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that Kawaki at age 17 is going to be as strong and as fast and as developed as Delta is as a grown woman right now, but I'm pretty sure that Kawaki is going to be pretty damn close, and Boruto is going to have to be able to match that in the future. And not only that, Kawaki in the future could potentially be that fast and that strong alongside the Karma Seal, which is going to make him even faster and even stronger. This right here is going to make him absolutely insane. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried for Boruto in the future, but regardless, this video right here is not about Boruto versus Kawaki, it is about Delta versus Naruto. Now, another thing that I definitely do want to bring up, people need to stop setting Sakura up for failure. A lot of people have been saying this on Twitter, and a lot of people have been saying this on Reddit. They're pretty much waiting for a Delta versus Sakura battle. I'm here to tell you guys right now, it will not look good for Sakura. It will not look good for Sakura. A couple of things that we found out about this episode. Delt is able to match Naruto speed wise. Delt is able to actually land punches on Naruto. One thing that we know for sure, or a couple of things that we know for sure. One thing's for sure, two things for certain, as they say. Sakura is not keeping up with Naruto speed wise. And in a fight, like a 1v1 fight like this, Sakura, I don't think she's landing a punch on Naruto. Now, another thing that people were saying about this fight is the fact that if Sakura lands a punch on Delta, Delta's pretty much going to be over. Here's the thing. I think people don't understand how durable Delta is. Delta actually took multiple haymakers from Naruto. In the last episode, she pretty much tried to hit the kids with the laser beam, and Naruto pretty much like destroyed her jaw, and Delta pretty much brushed that off. Now, at that particular time, it basically told me that, hey, Delta can actually take a punch from Sakura. Now, of course, some people might think that Sakura hits harder than Sage of Six Path Naruto. I tend to disagree. If you guys don't necessarily remember, Naruto pretty much folded Tonetti, and he wasn't even in Sage of Six Path mode. So that right there pretty much tells me that Delta is pretty damn durable. And of course, when we talk about the Byakugo seal, it wouldn't necessarily matter, man, because Delta has those light beams or those laser beams that prevents regeneration all around. I just think it's going to be a bad sight for Sakura. So a lot of people need to stop saying the Delta versus Sakura battle needs to happen. Now, another thing that I definitely do want to put out about Delta is the fact that she had irrational confidence in the battle versus Naruto. And during the Boruto manga, I had absolutely no idea why. She understood that Naruto was one of the greatest shinobis of all time. She understood that Naruto was extremely powerful. She understood that this right here was going to be a challenge, but Delta seemed to not care, and I didn't know why. Now, in this episode right here, a very slight thing happened. The machine or the scientific technology that she released from her body was not destroyed. And that thing right there in the preview went back to the Kata organization hideout. Now, the Boruto manga readers, we know exactly what the situation is, but that right there to me made it seem that Delta is not dead. But in regards to Delta's irrational confidence, I'm pretty sure that's why. Like, she understood that she had a backup plan. Her pretty much self-destructing pretty much reinsured that for me. Now, there were a bunch of other things that happened in this episode, and I do want to make a dedicated video talking about them. A couple of things that I definitely do want to talk about has to be Kashin Koji and what he said about Boruto's Karma Seal. He basically said that Boruto's Karma Seal is going to be the key. It basically kind of reinforces the fact that a lot of people think that Kashin Koji is probably going to be backstabbing the Kata organization in the future. Not only that, we also seen Boro in this episode as well, another insider, and he's basically talking about using the infinite Tsukiyome, which I'm pretty sure you guys understand deserves a full damn video. And also Code steps out and basically, like, I'm not necessarily gonna say bullied, but he pretty much punked Boro into saying like, yo, you need to come back to the Kata organization, which kind of signifies that Code is actually stronger than Boro. But let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comment section below, specifically in regards to Naruto versus Delta. But it's me, your boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.